After hiring coach Ime Udoka, we kind of all knew that the Houston Rockets, they had big plans for this upcoming season, and that's exactly what we saw with the attitude that they had in this year's offseason. They were very aggressive, and in my opinion, I think they had the perfect offseason, and I really think they struck gold. And to begin this offseason, they hired coach Ime Udoka, and we just know that he just can bring a lot of stuff to the Houston Rockets that they need. Leadership on the court and in the locker room. And also, when he coached for his first year with the Boston Celtics, they had the #1 defense in all of the NBA. So I think his leadership alone, his experience getting to the playoffs, going through the playoffs, getting to the NBA Finals, and then also having a defensive identity as a coach is going to help the Houston Rockets a lot. And once we saw them make that move, we kind of guessed that the Houston Rockets, they were going to attempt to put some talent around coach Ime Udoka and the rest of this team so they can be competitive and hopefully get to the playoffs next season. And they started it off by doing a great job in this year's NBA draft. And we look at the 2023 NBA draft, the Houston Rockets, they were blessed with the 4th overall pick and also the 20th overall pick, and they went out and they got one of the Thompson twins with their 4th pick. They got Amen Thompson, and I love this pickup a lot because I feel like Amen brings two things to this Houston Rockets team that they desperately needed over the last few years since they've been struggling winning games in their rebuilding process. Number one is playmaking. I feel like he's going to bring a lot of playmaking to this team, and the Houston Rockets lacks a lot of playmaking. They don't really have a true point guard, or at least until this offseason started, they didn't really have a true point guard on this roster. And I know Alperen Sengun, his playmaking is steadily improving, but he hasn't become that guy that you can run the offense through full time just yet. So I'm bringing in, and the same thing with Kevin Porter Jr. They moved him to the point guard position, but it's not his natural game. He's more of a scorer, and he would have some nights where he would get hot, assisting the basketball, getting 10, 11 assists, getting a triple-double, but it's just not a natural part of his game, and it's not a part of his game to make others around him better. So bringing in Amen Thompson, a player that plays the point guard position, a player that processes the game, can break a defense down, can read multiple options out of pick and roll sets. I think he's going to get a lot of easy looks for guys like Jabari Smith, for bigs like Alperen Sengun and Tari Eason, and also setting up a guy like Jalen Green. I'm really looking forward to next season for Jalen Green to see him get some more high percentage looks because he is a great scorer despite what his efficiency number says. And also his defense, 6'7", 6'7" with a 7-foot wingspan, 200 plus pounds. He's going to be a very versatile defender. He can pick up full court. He's going to be able to guard the point guard. He's going to be able to guard wings. In some cases in today's NBA, he might even be able to guard 1 through 5 with how small teams go at times. So Amen Thompson, great lateral quickness, supreme athleticism. He's going to be a great on-ball defender. He's also going to be able to help off the ball, whether it's playing the passing lanes or rotating down and blocking shots. So I love this pickup because I love what he brings as far as a playmaker and as a defender, two things that the Houston Rockets really need. They also had the 20th pick in this year's draft, and they went with Cam Whitmore. Now, we all know Cam Whitmore was projected to be a top 5 lottery pick in this year's NBA draft. I'm from Detroit, and I'm a huge fan of the Detroit Pistons, and I thought he was going to be coming here. And then I saw that we went with the other Thompson twin, Asor Thompson, and after that, Cam Whitmore continued to drop until we got to the 20th overall pick in this year's draft, where he went to the Houston Rockets. And after seeing what they did in free agency, I love this a lot for Cam Whitmore, and I also love it a lot for the Houston Rockets. I feel like with Cam Whitmore, there's not going to be any pressure on him to come into the NBA and live up to the expectations of being a lottery pick, because the Houston Rockets are loaded at the wing position. They have Dylan Brooks now. They have Amen Thompson. And I know he plays guard, but he's 6'7", so you can use him as a wing on the defensive offensive side of the ball. So we have Amen Thompson, Dylan Brooks, you have Jeff Green, Jabari Smith, Tari Eason. So they have a bunch of wings that can be very, very productive out on the basketball court. So I feel like Cam Whitmore, there's going to be some pressure raised off of him, and it's also going to be, and the Houston Rockets are also going to be able to be patient with his development and his health. So that's one aspect that I love about this selection. And then also Cam Whitmore just has tons and tons of potential. We look at him right now, he has his NBA body. He's 6'7", 6'8" wingspan, and he weighs 230 pounds, and he's supremely athletic. He's very fast, he's very strong, and he can jump out of the gym. He has a 40-inch vertical. And on the offensive side of the ball, the best part of his game is his ability to get downhill and finish around the rim. And he's not just finishing because he's more athletic than everyone else, but he has great skill, great touch, great finesse when it comes to finishing around the rim. He can finish with both hands, and also he's very exciting going downhill because he can get up and punch it on you. And also he's great moving without the basketball, which is going to be important with this Houston Rockets team because it's a lot of guys that they're going to be playing through. So they're going to need some people who's going to be able to be effective without the basketball in their hands. And he does a great job. He can knock down a wide open three-point shot. He knows how to flash to open spots, open holes in the defense, and he's a great cutter. So I'm loving what he's going to bring to them offensively. And then on the defensive side of the ball, very competitive, high energy. He'll pick up full court. He'll guard the opposing team's best player. He's going to rebound the basketball, and he's also in the passing lanes. He averaged 1.5 steals in his final year of college. So Cam Whitmore, I think the upside is there. And now he's in a situation, he's with an organization where they can be patient with each other. So I love this pickup a lot. So we talked about the coach that the Houston Rockets have brought in, Coach Ime Udoka. He's going to add some personality, some discipline, some character to this team. We talked about the talent that they acquired in this year's draft with Amen Thompson and Cam Whitmore. And now we can talk about what they did recently in free agency, bringing in Dylan Brooks, Fred VanVleet, and Jeff Green. Now, a lot of people are torn between loving what the Houston Rockets did in free agency, and some people feel like they overpaid too much for their free agents. Me personally, I'm a fan of what they did. I feel like, what else are you going to use the cap space on? And I think they brought in some players that are going to be really beneficial for the personnel that they already have. And we look at Dylan Brooks' contract, I don't think it's that bad. I think he's definitely worth it. I think after what happened with LeBron James and how he got humbled, I feel like Dylan Brooks, people are just seeing that side of him when it comes to his basketball game. But he brings so much as far as being a defender. Like he's a lockdown defender. But his contract is 4 years for $80 million, $20 million a year. I feel like he's worth that. And then Fred VanVleet, I believe his contract is like 3 years, $120 or $130 million, which also I'm not mad at. He's 29 years of age. By the time his contract is over, he'll be 32 years old, and I don't think his game is going to slow down no time soon, especially with the way that he plays. But I want to start off looking at Fred VanVleet, and I feel like he's going to be so beneficial to this team. One thing that keeps coming up in this video is playmaking. So he's going to be adding another dimension of playmaking to this team. He can pick guys in the right spot. He knows how to make the right pass, whether it's in the half court, in transition. He knows when to come off of the basketball. And another thing, I see him and Jalen Green, I see them meshing together well as a backcourt just because of the roles that Fred VanVleet has played so far in his NBA career. First of all, he has a lot of playoff experience and he's an NBA champion. But we look at all the guys that he's played with, he's never been the guy with the highest usage rating on the team. So I don't think that's going to be no problem when it comes to guys like Jalen Green and Alperen Sengun. I don't think Fred VanVleet is going to have a problem coming off of the basketball because he's been doing it for his entire NBA career. He's played with Kawhi Leonard. He's played with Pascal Siakam. Pascal Siakam evolved to the #1 option after 2019 when they won the championship, and he's also played alongside Kyle Lowry, and I'm pretty sure all of those guys had the basketball in their hands more than Fred VanVleet. So he's used to playing off the basketball. He's going to add three-point shooting to this team, and another thing that's been brought up since he signed this contract is his shooting numbers. And I think one thing we have to keep in mind is that Fred VanVleet, he doesn't take a lot of the shots that are considered to be the easiest shots in the game of basketballs. I'm talking about layups and dunks. He doesn't take many of those. He takes a lot of perimeter jump shots. So I think it makes a lot of sense that his shooting numbers doesn't look as efficient as other guards in this league. So I feel like we have to keep that in mind. And also another thing he's going to bring is just grittiness, toughness on the defensive side of the ball. He's great at the point of attack. He's like a little pit bull, just like how Chris Paul, Kyle Lowry play defense, just like those guys. Very annoying, constantly reaching. He's gonna pick you up full court, and he's pretty strong for his size. So I love the addition of Fred VanVleet. I think the Houston Rockets, they're gonna need his experience, his leadership, his three-point shooting, his playmaking, and his defense. That's 5 things that he's gonna be bringing to this team next season. And also, we take a look at Dylan Brooks, and we talked about what happened in the playoffs where he bit off a little bit more than he can chew, and I'm pretty sure he's going to learn from that. He got humbled by one of the greatest basketball players of all time, LeBron James. But other than that, I feel like he's a very solid basketball player. He's a streaky three-point shooter. There's games where he can get hot, knock down 4 or 5 three-point shots. He can take the ball off the dribble. He can finish around the rim. He's gonna, and I don't expect the Houston Rockets to need that much out of him offensively. I feel like there's gonna be plenty of guys that they can go to before him: Jabari Smith, Alperen Sengun, Fred VanVleet, Jalen Green. So he's not gonna be asked to do too much offensively besides knock down wide open three-point shots. And now we look at what he's gonna bring to the defensive side of the ball. I don't think people realize how good of a defender that he is. He has good size, he's very strong, and he loves playing defense. So I feel like he's a great addition to this team. And also bringing in Uncle Jeff Green, who was very good for the Denver Nuggets last season, knocking down that corner three-point shot, still competing on the defensive side of the ball, making the right plays when it comes to making the extra pass, and just being in the right spot at the right time. And also Uncle Jeff, he's still sneaky athletic. He can get up and punch it on you if you give him a full head of steam. So the Houston Rockets, I feel like they've had the perfect offseason. They nailed it in the head coach market. They nailed it in the NBA draft market, and in my opinion, they nailed it in the free agency market. But that's going to be it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed, please leave a like, comment down below if you agree or disagree, and then subscribe for more weekly content. We do this all the time, man, and that's curtains.